just too frustrating, and you tell me over and over and over again, my friend, I don't believe we're on the eve of destruction.
I am Kay Hendrickson, chair of the DFL Senior Caucus. Today, we are bringing you expert speakers and recipients to tell us how they are being affected by Trump and the Doge cuts. Our headliners, Richard Carlbaum will be up, Keith Ellison, Senator Erin Murphy, Steve Simon, Minnesota Secretary of State.
And when you have a federal government and a president who's decided his mission is to disrupt people's lives and create chaos and uncertainty, it makes the function of what I believe deeply in, a government by and for the people, very, very difficult. And I know this is the senior caucus, so it's okay if I use a lot of swear words, but some media's here, so I'm going to try not to swear too much. But you know, as an Irish woman who's lived a lot of life, there's a lot of swear words in me. And I use them liberally when I'm not at a microphone, let me tell you. You know, this person, who is the President of the United States, he got his claim to fame by firing people, right? And he is known to bankrupt things. He's bankrupted a lot of companies before he ever became the President of the United States. And often he does that to hoard his own wealth. He was born with a golden fork in his mouth, and he's using that golden fork now to shovel the resources of our country that are meant for us into the pockets of the very wealthy, with tax cuts that come at the expense, and you've seen that resolution coming from Congress, $880 billion that the Republicans who represent Minnesota, they voted for it, $880 billion. That's coming at medical assistance, that's coming at Social Security, that's coming at Medicare, and he's washing his hands of it because he doesn't really give a damn. Yeah. We do. The people inside this building and my colleagues in the DFL caucus who are in there right now debating a bill, we do. And we understand we've got a couple of jobs to do. Thank you. That's right, we do. We care about Minnesota, we care about each other, we care about our future, and we care about our care. So we're going to do the job we have to do to balance this budget, because that's the job in front of us. But know that we understand that if that Congress, that feckless Congress who's giving up their power to an executive, if they do what he says they should do and they start to hurt Minnesotans, we're going to be back in this building again. We have to come back in this building again. Because we are not going to stand as we watch Minnesotans suffer because of a kind of politics that is no longer about us. And I don't even think it's an American kind of politics. It's not. So the last thing I want to say to you is I have been now for the last number of weeks all over the state of Minnesota, and hundreds and thousands of Minnesotans are raising their voices. They are, just like you are, in rallies and town halls and town gatherings, because we are the antidote to what is happening in Washington, D.C. And they may not feel worried about what we're doing, what you're doing, but they should. Because the power of our government rests with us. So I am so glad to see you today, and I am glad to feel your fight. And know I have the same fight, and I hope you feel mine. But know that we can't stop. We won't stop. We can't stop. We've got to keep going, because the work we're doing together, inside and especially out here, is the work of the next generation of our democracy and the government by and for the people. Thank you so much for giving a damn. Thank you so much for being here. Let's keep up the fight. I'll see you soon. I believe in us.
We are here today because seniors and people with disabilities are facing a perfect storm of policy failures, from Washington, D.C. to right here in Minnesota. And it's threatening our health, safety, and very ability to live with dignity. This cruelty must be stopped. It's so important that we stand up and fight for justice for seniors and people with disabilities. Let's say it clearly. We are not ready for what's happening. Minnesota is aging fast. Our population is changing, but current infrastructure, and support systems are stuck in the past. Or worse, they're being gutted right before our eyes. The truth is, we don't have communities that we can live healthy, safe lives. People are stuck in dangerous housing, inadequate transportation options, unaffordable care in deteriorating communities. They forget decades of contributions, the caregiving, the work, the volunteer hours, the sacrifices. They treat us like a burden, not the backbone of our communities that we are. Can you just say that one more time? Too many politicians don't value. Can you say that again? Too many politicians do not value us older adults. And right now, we are being forced to shoulder the pain and budget cuts while taking hit after hit from political attacks that threaten our dignity, our safety, and our very lives. These programs are not luxuries, they're lifelines. We rely on Medicare and our earned Social Security just to survive. We should be investing more, not less. We should be building up home care, making sure care workers are paid enough to stay. We should be making it easier, not harder, for people to live where they want, with the infrastructure and the support we need. Even the attempt of elder voice advocates to pass legislation this year to create a healthy aging sub-cabinet at a mere cost of $1 million, that's controversial, and that's too expensive to some legislators. Well, guess what? We're not buying it. We will not accept a future where people are forced into unsafe nursing homes and assisted living because there's no other option. We will not accept a system where people with disabilities have to beg every year just to hold on to the bare minimum. We will not stay quiet while people in power cut away the rights and supports that every human being deserves. We must lead the way in aging and disability policy. We must build communities that honor everybody at every age, at every ability. But it's going to take bold action and real leadership. And all of us speaking up and showing up just like you're doing today. Because growing old should not feel like a punishment. And living with a disability should not mean living in fear. Thank you, and let's keep raising our voices. Thank you.
All right, we're not going to stay quiet, she said. We're going to keep resisting. We're not going to stay quiet. We're going to keep resisting. And guess who's next? Guess who's next? Our own beloved expert on voting rights. The guy who's keeping Minnesota voting rights safe in the state of Minnesota and is an example across the United States. Our own, very own Secretary of State, Steve Simon.
Hello, everybody. Thank you for being here. Thank you so much. I want to thank the Senior Caucus. I want to thank the Veterans Caucus. I want to thank the Disability Caucus. I want to thank everyone who had anything whatsoever to do with this event. What a turnout, right? Thank you for lending your voice and your time to this event. This is what democracy looks like, right? And I think I ought to know. Because as Secretary of State, I like to say often and loudly that I am in the democracy business. And so are you. So are we all. And it's particularly important that we stay committed to the democracy business after the last 100 days, right? Now in Minnesota, we are very proud of our democracy, are we not? And I'm sure you know this already, but it never is too late to say, often and loudly, Minnesota most often is #1 in the country in voter turnout, right? And we're proud of our democracy here in Minnesota, but we know that democracy is about more than just voting. Am I right? Democracy is about dignity. Democracy is about our rights. And I have to say, the last 100 days in this country have not painted a pretty picture when it comes to some of our core rights. We have seen, for example, an assault on free speech. Now, I am old enough to remember, meaning I was around like 5 months ago. I am old enough to remember when we were told that we were going to usher in a golden era of free speech. Gone would be the woke folks and the cancel culture and the people punishing people for what they said or what they thought. Do you remember that promise? Well, look what we've gotten over the last 100 days. We have a president of the United States who has threatened to imprison people. This is literally true, a past appointee of his. He has sicked the Justice Department on people who said that the 2020 election was honest. We have a president who has taken over the Kennedy Center for the Arts because he doesn't like the plays that they put on. We have a president who has banished from the Pentagon press room the Associated Press. Why? What's their offense? They won't use the phrase Gulf of America. Okay? We have seen an attack on due process rights. Look, in the United States of America, it doesn't matter how low or bad you are. Every single person has the right to a day in court, right? It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if the person is the most heinous and lowly of them all. Everyone in America gets a day in court. And yet suddenly, that has seemed in some cases to go by the wayside. And finally, I would point out, we've had an attack on voting rights. About a month ago now, the President of the United States put out an executive order. There are a lot of those these days, right? An executive order saying that if states like ours in Minnesota don't do things he wants in elections, he's going to cut off funding. So we have gone to court. And we've joined with 18 other states, banding together to say, it's a power grab. It's an unconstitutional power grab. Do what you want in Congress, but don't wave a magic wand in the Oval Office and tell us what to do in the states on elections and then bully and threaten us with cutting our funding. That cannot stand. So these are just some examples of the last 100 days. And you may be asking yourselves, in light of what I just said, look, what does that have to do with the price of eggs? What does that have to do with the price of life? What does that have to do with benefit cuts? I'll tell you what it has to do with those things. Absolutely everything. And here's why. If democracy slides, dignity slides. When dignity slides, confidence slides. When confidence slides, investment slides. When that slides, the economy slides. And when that slides, it affects all of us and all of our bottom lines. It's the first in a series of dominoes that could lead to a real, sustained economic downturn. That affects all of us, seniors or not, disabled or not, veterans or not. That's why I'm worried about our country in these last 100 days. So what do we do about it? Well, number one, we show up to events like this. We use our voices. We use our voices to let people in power and let all people know that it's time to stand up. Will you continue to stand up? Yes! Will you continue to step up? Yes! And will you do it beyond just the next 100 days? Yes! Will you do it over the next 200 days? Yes! How about 500 days? Yes! How about, if necessary, 1,000 days? Yes! we're on the right track. You give me cause for optimism. 100 days may seem like a short time, but it's enough time to do great damage to this country. Let's make sure that over the next 100 days, and the next, and the next, we limit and contain and hopefully reverse that damage. Are you with me? Keep it up. Keep doing what you're doing, no matter what everyone says. Use your voice. Thank you so much for showing us what democracy looks like. Thanks for being great partners in the democracy business. Keep it up. Keep it up. Thank you.
I don't believe we're on the eve of destruction.